Welcome back to TV, your global news channel. We come to you guys with some latest updates, this time from Spain, as the migrant crime epidemic is still spreading in the country, primarily aimed from the North African migrants, mostly from countries like Morocco. The local residents in a number of smaller towns and cities, including in this live stream, we're going to talk about near Barcelona, where they have completely been fed up over the last few years. This one is specifically about a type of behavior from some of the North African migrants, which has been going on for some time now, but it's escalating. We have some videos to show you guys from clashes near Barcelona, but also the reaction or lack of reaction from the authorities and the political establishment in Spain. It's completely chaotic. So we have this first video we're going to show you guys from near Barcelona. Locals are fighting back against North African migrant squatters who attack them with sticks and chains, of course. And the police eventually arrived after some time. We're going to show you. They tried to break up this violent clash, which turned into a bit of a tiny riot. Let's watch this and I'm going to explain why. Another day in Europe. What a mess. So one police car eventually arrived. One. Wait for it. Dear God.
¡Que saca el machete, que ha ido por el machete!
I mean, good luck with that. Areas in and around Barcelona has been experiencing things like this for some time. Even in the center of Barcelona, it's become a bit of a regular occurrence in terms of just crime and violence, physical violence. But this is specifically about the squatters. So this has become a massive crisis for some time now, where migrants use the squatting loopholes to basically just take over people's places. And one main issue is also about the lack of response. Reports from our local sources in Barcelona suggest that authorities are either refusing to deal with this or have lost control. Most of this, as I said, the Moroccan or Maghrebi migrants, who a lot of them are illegal migrants, obviously. The nice, educated, middle-class Moroccans stay in their country and work hard, but this is what they're sending to Spain. That's Moncada y Reixac, by the way. Moncada y Reixac. Why are they using chains? Oh my God. Here we go. It's good that people are finally standing up to this nonsense. Local people, you're seeing this sort of stuff from a number of countries in Europe. You're seeing it in the Republic of Ireland. We are seeing it in Spain. We've seen it in France, where local natives are actually finally standing up and fighting back. Because if the police are not there, if the political establishment don't care, somebody needs to look after their areas. Obviously, in the UK, this sort of behavior is considered being a vigilante, and the police will come and arrest you as well. So it's a lose-lose in the UK. Probably best to let the dog go, by the way. Anyway, so that continued. Then the police eventually sent out minimum enforcement and reinforcement to help with the first police car, who had like 1 or 2 police officers in it. Considering that this in these sort of areas, especially just outside Barcelona, you have had this going on for some time now, and regular occurrence in terms of clashes. Again, these squatters, you would think that there should be some sort of patrolling the area process for police and the authorities. No, doesn't seem to be this. But eventually, they did send a few more police officers. They were still struggling. A number of people got injured. Then I'm going to explain. There were still a few people fighting, attacking the local Spanish people, right? Just wait for the next statement.
Mío, por favor. Madre mía.
Got the batons out, finally. About time. You had dozens of people essentially rioting and attacking people, right? But having said that, you might be a little bit surprised to hear that the police, eventually getting there, only managed to arrest 3. 3 people were arrested, accused of rioting. Obviously the origin of dispute between the squatters and some of the locals. This was a combination, by the way, of the natives, Spanish natives, but also some of the gypsies, or as I said, Roma families as well. And a whole thing is being investigated. Migrant on migrant attacks. Some witnesses have told the police that clashes between various sides were frequent, but the spark that ignited the weekend of violence was the squatters' assault on a shop on the ground floor of the building, which caused a water leak that affected the neighborhood. That's why people in the neighborhood were completely fed up, because of the water. Attacking a shop. I don't know. It's not really that shocking. That part of it is normal, right? That part. It's called the continent of Europe. 21st century Europe. That's what happens. Anyway, the locals have been fed up. The local press said that a number of people, but some of them were also gypsies, some of them were Spanish, some of them were also other migrants as well. They're all afraid to leave their homes in case, obviously, they find themselves in other clashes out on the streets. And they're saying this was going to happen at any point. This was always going to be happening. Now, they explained that tensions have been rising for some time, for months, especially since the squatters on the ground floor carried out several attempted robberies, including the last one, which was yesterday on a local shop. So now, people have been fed up for some time. There have been a number of protests and everything else against the Spanish government in Madrid. Not much has been done about this. It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. Only a couple of months ago. No, not 3 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, in the middle of July, in case you didn't remember, but going back to Spain, Sabadell, a massive battle occurred between neighbors and Moroccans that left 4 people stabbed while preventing the squatters from taking control of the properties. So that was another one. But that's not the only thing. A lot of the certain groups, as you know, the liberal and the socialist establishment continue to protect in the name of minorities, right? Ethnic minorities, with no respect, by the way, with absolutely no respect towards the difference between legal and illegal migrants. These groups continue to be seen as self-entitled whenever something happens. Going back to earlier last week, 400 foreign nationals basically started a siege of a police station after a migrant from Gambia was shot during a knife attack on officers, burning it, obviously, containers in retaliation. So to clarify, a Gambian migrant and others attacked the police. And then the police shot one of them. These guys, you can see on the screen, were angry that the police had to take action. So this one was Gambians. Obviously, what we're reporting from today and last night is Moroccans. I mean, how can you live as a loyal and committed citizen of your country in Europe while respecting your own government? How can people respect their own governments when the governments are doing this? They're allowing this to happen. On the issue of North Africans and the squatting crisis, it's widespread, massively widespread. This is tied to mass migration, with laws obviously making evictions difficult, and is fueling vigilantism. Again, last month in Torre Pacheco, anti-migrant riots followed a pensioners beating by Moroccans. A bunch of Moroccans beat up a Spanish paid pensioner, leading to only 14 arrests, a night of violence. A clear pattern, obviously, of locals pushing back against unchecked immigration and crime waves. 14 arrests. By the way, there were tens of them. There were dozens of them, close to 100, going around causing chaos. 14 arrests, all right? That's still better than what happened last night and today. 3 arrests. So how long will it take for the Spanish socialist government to finally understand that you don't even have to actually listen to the concerns of the people? Just look on the streets. From the capital, Madrid, to Barcelona, and many other places, as we've been reporting. It's getting completely embarrassing for all these European establishments. Meanwhile, the Spanish government are more concerned about the well-being of Hamas members in Gaza. That's the priority for the Spanish government, the Spanish Prime Minister. Now, someone said in the live chat, which I absolutely agree with. Tommy in the live chat says, public service announcement, hold your phone sideways if you're recording something. And I know, I'm the moment I become the dictator of the world, which will happen, when I'm dictator, the first law will be to ban portrait mode filming. Just do landscape. Be normal. Stop being obsessed with TikTok. Do landscape filming. No one can see what you're doing if you're doing it vertically. Anyway. So thank you, Tommy, for reminding us that people can't film. Attila says, those who have nothing to do here should be sent home. Those who have something to do here can stay and obey the laws and fit in. Otherwise, they can go home or wherever they want. It's that simple. That's true. I mean, that's why a lot of people keep talking about, for example, remigration and deporting people back to their homes. I'm just in favor of exile and expulsion. Expel people from the country. I don't care where you go. If I were Spanish, in defense of Spain, I would say just get them out of Spain. We have someone who is spamming the live chat. So what we tend to do with this, because obviously we have a free speech platform, we say whatever you want, just don't copy and paste. We're going to make fun of him and then we're going to ban him. It's called Elephant Awareness, saying Tutsi is funded by Israel. Interesting. I don't know how he's found the evidence. No one else has. I haven't found the evidence. He's funded to stir hatred to protect the Jews. No, the Moroccan migrants causing chaos, they're doing it themselves. I didn't tell them to go and attack the locals in Spain. Tommy Robinson and Katie Hopkins are both funded by Zionist Israel. Don't fund Tutsi. He's a traitor to Britain. Nobody funds me. We don't do funding. I don't do fundraising. I don't do any of that sort of stuff. So let's ban this guy anyway. We have a business here. We believe in free market capitalism. Bitches. All right. Now, it's funded by Israel. I'm still waiting for my check from Mossad. Anyway. Someone said, oh, the live chat's going quickly. There we go. If you are fleeing a war, you take your family with you. If you are going to war, you leave your family behind. Not only you take your family with you, you send your family to a safe haven and you stay. So I don't understand why the women and children are all in their home countries I mean, I don't understand. It's because there's no war in Morocco. I mean, there's a lot of chaos in Morocco on a regular basis, but they're not at war with any country directly, technically, apart from Spain. The reality is that as economic migrants, you have two options. You can either do it legally and wait in the process and see if that country is generous enough to let you have a chance. Or you could just break the law and enter the country illegally, right? So fair enough. But they, not fair enough, obviously. But what they end up doing, the reason they do this is clearly to send money back to their homeland. This is the same issue we've been having in the UK with a lot of South Asians, Pakistani, Bangladeshi. Men come, take the money, send it back home. And you might think, okay, it's not probably a nice thing to do, but is that really a big problem compared to everything else when it comes to mass illegal migration? You remove money from the financial cycle of any country, that's the death of that country. Now, yes, a few £100, it's not going to destroy the country, but over time, the financial cycle of any country is the money that's going around. How do you create more money? Forget about these stupid liberal globalists who keep saying just print more money. You can't just print more money. You bring money from other countries. You either do it through trade, you sell things to other countries and you get their money, or you do it through tourism. Foreigners will come and visit your country, they bring their money. Any government in any country, their priority, apart from the safety of and the protection of their citizens, should be to make sure more money comes in than money goes out of the country. That's why a lot of good countries also promote domestic tourism. I mean, it really depends on your climate, what country you're living in. Some countries are able to promote essentially domestic tourism in your country. So local people could just stay in the country and go somewhere nice. Americans do it all the time. Having said that, not every country can do that, but you have to promote money coming in rather than going out. If you eventually, over decades and decades, have a lot of migrants, especially illegal economic migrants, in your countries, in Spain, in France, in the UK, working there, forget about the multiculturalism part of it, forget about the rise of crime on the streets, forget about the lack of respect for the identity of the country. Those young military-age men work, mostly cash in hand, don't pay taxes, even if they do work, even if they're not on benefits. Then they send that money to their homeland. That money has now left the financial cycle from Spain, for example. That, long-term, has a massive negative impact. Politicians don't talk about this. It's not really a sexy topic. Mostly also because journalists in the mainstream media never raise this question. You've had so many press conferences and speeches and debates about immigration and multiculturalism, which only started over the last few years, finally, in the West. None of these mainstream media journalists have ever asked about what I said. What about that part, which has a massive long-term negative impact, as well as the imminent threat of, obviously, for example, in the UK, grooming gangs, and in Spain, squatters and burglars, and in Belgium, in Brussels, just people randomly walking around with rifles, gangs. Hugh says, just print more money, bro. If only it was that easy. Just print more money. Fake money. Super chat from Kripan saying, come to Bangalore, a great South Indian food. It's a little bit too far. I'll maybe at some point in the future. Unless you mean Whitechapel in East London. That's slightly closer. There's a lot of Indian food there too. I sent 2 Irish shekels for support. I am now funded by the Irish. Oh no, this is the end, guys. New conspiracy theory. 2C TV funded by the Irish. It's more scandalous than being funded by the Jews. Oh, the Irish. Anyway, Deb, let's go to the members of 2C TV Plus. Deb says it reminds you of the UK. All the West need to fight to get their country back. Yes. It seems my days of family holiday spot is now less safe than any war zone. So sad. Yeah. I mean, one of the sad realities of the situation in Spain is until about 5-10 years ago, as long as you would avoid the central parts of the urban areas, Valencia, Madrid, Barcelona, you will be okay. Now it's reached the suburban areas and smaller towns outside cities, like here in Barcelona, outside Barcelona. It's the same on a different level problem that we are now seeing in the UK, where people in small towns and villages were complaining about the threat of mass migration 10, 20 years ago. The liberals were laughing at them, saying, you live in this basically 100% white village somewhere in England. What are you complaining about? Because those guys are wise. They have common sense. They knew eventually it's going to get there. And now you have migrant hotels in small villages, small towns. Now you are seeing the impact. Those guys were right. When you look at, for example, countries like France and Germany, that started to happen 15 years ago. You were having clashes between some Turks and Germans from the late 1990s in small towns in Germany, like Kassel, which is not too far from Cologne, by the way, or Köln. No coincidence that all the countries that have major migrants crime issues have left-wing socialist governments. Looks like Trump needs to sort London and Barcelona too. Just put sanctions. Federalize the UK and Spain. Not European federalization. More like the National Guard from DC. The world's gone mad, but inevitable that citizens are fighting for their survival. I think this is the thing, by the way. So in Britain, in England, we've been having a lot of protests and angry protests outside migrant hotels over the last few weeks. That's mostly essentially desperation, that people are like not being heard, and they simply want to be heard, and they know that they can put pressure, and they have put pressure. We've had 3 or 4 migrant hotels being shut down in some local areas in recent days and weeks, although what they do is they shut it down, they just move the migrants to a different area. So that group of those local people will go, okay, fine. Now they're going to go and protest with the others. So that's a different thing. The people in England just fed up. They're saying, just hear us out. The situation in what I showed you outside Barcelona, for example, that's more like an imminent threat. I'm not saying which one is more of a threat. It's just on a different angle, different levels. The local people who are fighting back, that's just for survival. You got a bunch of Moroccan migrants, illegal migrants primarily, coming at you with massive sticks and chains. The local people are not out there just trying to be heard by the government. They need to do self-defense just to survive the night. And then they will try their best to obviously do more protests, which we've been seeing, especially in the south of Spain. But that's just survival. And again, in Britain, we've had these migrant hotels, as they're going up, the numbers are going up. Every week, almost every day, we are getting more news reports of another young girl being sexually assaulted, another elderly being attacked randomly on the street. So that's also happening. That imminent threat is also started to happen almost daily in England, because there's just too many people to keep an eye on. You can't. The government can't. And eventually, my point is, eventually, that the same local people in England who are protesting outside migrant hotels because they want to be heard, soon enough, they're going to have to be out, not to be heard. They're going to have to be out to defend themselves on the streets because of imminent threat. You are seeing it right now in Spain. You've been seeing it in France, as we've been reporting over the last year or so. That's what's going on. Sandra says, why does Maya always spend so much time on trolls? Tiresome. To be fair, 15 seconds, 10 seconds responding to one troll is not so much time. It's only, I mean, I know life is short, but 10, 15 seconds to respond to one funny troll and then blocking them is okay. It could be worse. I could have been ranting about it as much as I've been ranting to Sandra, responding to her criticizing. You just wasted more time by saying I wasted time on the troll. Okay. Moroccans ain't coming over England. Are not coming. Moroccans are not coming over to England, not ain't coming. Is that UN boats or some sort of misspelling? I'm guessing it's UN boats. Own boats, people are coming from Iran, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Eritrea, Romania. Yes, but we're not talking about England. I need some painkillers here. Yes, Moroccans. We have some Moroccans here, but we have different groups of people. What are you talking about? Why are you talking about England? Oh my God. Anyway, do we have any sane human? If it weren't for us Brits, the world would still be living in caves, flinging crap at walls. With all respect to Britain, and I'm very much a big defender of most of the things the British Empire did. We did have the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire and the Persian Empire and a bit of Egyptian Empire that had civilization and had the early days refrigerators and canals and cutlery and discipline and marriages. You know, it was not perfect, but you're talking about the ancient civilization before Europe became Europe, which Britannia was actually part of the Roman Empire. So yeah, no. What is going on here? Leslie says, I went to London today. Uh-oh. It was hard to spot a female without the burqa. It was a relief to enter back into Essex, green fields and civilization. I feel so sorry for the people living in tower blocks. Well, no, one of the biggest crises we now have in London, Manchester, Liverpool, big cities, same is now happening in Portugal. You have all these new built buildings, right? Nice, expensive apartments, flats for young professionals, middle-class young professionals. The problem here is that for some reason, both in Portugal and the UK, the government have come up with an idea because they need more housing for migrants. Not just migrants, sorry, people on benefits, which happen to be mostly from migrant families. All these flats and apartments in the building are expensive to rent, very expensive to rent. On the ground floor, underneath everybody else, those flats, apartments, the government give them for free to the migrants on benefits, and it tends to be like certain families. So imagine you're a young middle-class professional person going to a big city saying, yeah, I've got this nice job now. Obviously, it's high taxes, but I'm still going to work hard. We've got all these nice places. Look at this. I found this nice new fake village that they've created with the nice refurbished flats. And then you go in and then you start to see some chaos every day. You could get mugged, you could get stabbed. And also the fact that you have to work hard to pay half of your taxes and eventually manage to pay rent. Then on the ground floor, there are people, migrants on benefits, who could get the same apartment for free. You know, doesn't feel good, does it? Oh my God. Kathy says, I live in southern Spain. I am a legal resident. Good. I worked and paid my taxes here for 16 years. An open border has allowed... scammers in Cesar Sanchez has allowed. It's crazy. To be fair, it's not really just about one or two political leaders or prime ministers or anybody or mayors. Some of these are stupid mayors. It's just the infection across the whole of the establishment that allows this to happen. There's a lot of pressure groups, from Quangos, from human rights groups, NGOs, so many groups that keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And people are moving. They have to, just to survive. Anyway, there will be more updates on this. Make sure to, if you want to get more out of this channel, download the 2C TV app, the home of geopolitical news, from your app stores today, and stay updated with everything. Over the next couple of days, we'll be posting the next original series on 2C TV Plus for our members, which will be a collection of interviews and everything that happened yesterday, 2 days ago, at our new media conference in Westminster. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.